This is Business Talk, your business, your success. Sponsored by Take Action Business Coaching. The opinions expressed are those of the participants and may not be the views of the staff, advertisers, and owners of the station. Advice given is not intended to replace that of your business advisor. Now, let's get down to talking about your business, your success. This is Business Talk.
Good afternoon, Peg.
Good afternoon. Great to be here for another awesome show, Pete, with you.
Right.
I love it. And to all of our listeners, we got a really nice email from Chuck listening last week.
Great.
And
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you, Chuck. Love your feedback, like your kind words. And we totally enjoy giving you guys at this moment what Pete and I are business coaches and executive coaches. We work with businesses, individuals,
Right.
one-on-one,
Right.
and in groups and trainings to help them grow in all kinds of areas.
So business coaching, we're really focused on growing the entire firm and helping the business owner themselves reach their own personal goals. In executive coaching, we may work with one individual in a big company to help them individually to grow.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And so our goal here today is we have a topic, which I love. Pete is our research director, and he pulled telling the hard truth at work is going to be the subject. And what we'll do is our website houses all our archive shows. So
And that website is?
It's takeactionbusinesscoaching.com. Takeactionbusinesscoaching.com. And so so if you're going to listen to this show or you say, I like this show, but I want somebody else to listen, you can go to our website. It'll be under Tell the Hard Truth at Work is going to be the topic. So you're always welcome to listen to any of our past shows as well.
Very good.
Okay,
Good,
so
good,
now,
good.
Pete, before we get started into our topic for the hour, tell me what's some good news that's happening?
Now, we all get inundated with bad news on the television, the radio, sometimes in the newspaper, the headlines on the newspaper, the pictures on the front page, those kind of things, wildfires, et cetera, et cetera. And so we search a little bit and find some good news. So this one here, and this is a short article, just says global economy is set for growth. With the exception of the UK and Russia, they might miss out, but most everybody else is growing very rapidly, faster growth than China, Italy, and Brazil, while the strong growth over the recent months is set to continue in the U.S., the Eurozone as a whole, and Japan. So three big areas, Japan, Europe, and the U.S., and actually China. China is still growing. It says this next article, oil prices leap on strong Chinese data. So there was some concern about China's economy slowing down.
Right.
But it looks like crude oil is up to $51.50 a barrel, and part of it is Chinese imports. They rose by 1 million barrels a day in September on the month to 9 million barrels a day.
Okay.
So
Well, good.
that's actually good news that China's doing well and continuing to improve. The other thing I had in here is this big article about fixing up the labor market. Holy cow, there's
Now,
a
where's
bunch
this
of
from,
graphs
Pete?
and
The
charts.
Wall Street Journal?
This is out of the Wall Street Journal,
Okay.
and the labor participation rate is, and it shows a graph here all the way back to 2007. Back in 2007, it was 66.5% of
Okay.
the working age people were in the workforce, and now it's 63. So it's lower, but in the last few months, it has steadily gone up. It's
looking
turning
at
up.
this. Okay,
it's
I
at
see.
a 4-year high right now. So it hasn't been this high in 4 years. So in other words, there's more people that are engaged in work who are capable of working.
That's good. That's good.
And then the number of people that are going into the workforce is up to 4.9 million. And if you look at this chart again, it dipped down into 2012, got to a low of a little bit over 3 million, and it's been steadily going up. And actually, the last couple of months, it's been spiking up. So at some point, it looks like wages may start to go up as well. And then the next chart, it just shows prime age employment to population ratio. It's 78.9, and it's a steady trend going up.
So what do you mean
pretty
by
rapidly.
that? Explain that chart. Explain that to us.
The
to us,
number
listeners.
of people employed over the population is at 78%. So 78% of the population is employed. It's just a ratio of number of people working versus number of people.
And what we
That's
say
all.
usually, Pete, is it's never going to be 100%. Correct?
Right. There are going to be people in transition from job to job. There are going to be people that have medical issues. There are going to be people that win the lottery, a few, not a lot, but a couple.
So
maybe
there's always
us.
going to be a percent of. So right now we're looking at 12% unemployed. Is that what we're
Well,
saying?
the official numbers are less than 5, so 4 and change.
But that
the real unemployment rate is probably around 12%.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
okay.
if you counted everybody that stopped looking, because the official unemployment rate doesn't include people who have stopped looking for a job.
Got it.
But they're still not working. So.
I like it. Yeah. Okay, good.
So,
good.
yeah.
Is that all good news, or do you have any
Well,
more?
yeah, there's one last thing here, tax reform.
I see a
It's
big
just,
sheet of paper.
tax reform. We really should be hoping to get to 3% growth, and hopefully between 2.5% and 3%, which is our long-term growth rate for the country. And we've been at 1.9% for the last several years, 10 years, and we really need to bump that up. And probably the only way to do it is to fiddle around with the taxes, and they're working on it. But who knows if they'll actually get it done? But good luck, guys. Do it.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Well, that is some good news. Good job on the research development, Pete.
Yeah.
Now, explain to me why
This is Peg and Pete with Business Talk.
Oh, yeah. It's good for people to know who we are.
Yeah.
I'm glad you say that.
Yeah.
We are, when we're talking about something in your business. And, whenever we talk, Pete, about anything in business, it always applies to your life. Because the way you do anything is the way you do everything.
Yeah, so the title of this article is Tell the Hard Truth at Work. However, this also applies when you're talking to your teenager about coming home on time or not snipping at their sister. Not that that's ever happened to you.
Well, Allie and Lauren, who are my children.
Awesome children.
Yeah, they're awesome children. They would never snip at each other. No, they're not
That
two
just wouldn't
teenage
happen.
girls. No, they do not.
Have you
do
ever
that.
seen this happen with neighbors' kids?
Yes, I've heard about it.
So there we
I've
go.
heard about it.
Yeah.
Now, what made you pick this topic?
Well, this is one of the things that we as coaches help people to actually, and I like to look at the analogy of we're putting all the stuff up on the table where we can get a good look at it.
Right.
We want to examine what's really going on in the business.
And so when we first walk into a business, people, we're generally the first time they've ever experienced a coach when we walk in.
Almost all the time.
Almost, 99% of the time we're their first experience as a coach. So if you're listening to us saying, what does a coach do? I've never had a coach. You're not alone. It's becoming more popular and more popular. And that's why we are growing our firm. We have Don and Michelle as our coaches here.
The four of us.
Locally, but we, I got to tell you, we make people money. And once they figure that out, guess what? They never leave us.
Right.
So once they understand, so we're the best little known secret, I always say. But one of the things that we do, to your point, Pete, is when we go into a company, we just do some interviews and we figure out, okay, what is going on here?
So we'll spend some time talking to the business owner or maybe the partners, if it's more than one, and get their perspective on what's going on, and then get them to think about, well, where is it now and where do they want it to be? And we'll have their opinion on what the most important thing is and the second most important thing and so on.
Right.
And then, as Peg said, we like to talk to the employees. And if it's a large company, like we've got one that's starting in a few weeks, there's about over 200 people. So we're interviewing a group of employees, a subset of employees from all the groups in the whole company.
That give us a good idea of what's going on in the business, because we need, I liked what you said, Pete. What we want to do is get everything out on the table to figure out what we're dealing with, because what we're going to do is grow the dickens out of it.
Yeah.
I haven't used
and we're
that
going to fix
phrase.
some things.
Yes, we may.
Dickens.
We're going
I
to
think
grow the dickens.
that's okay. It's not a swear word.
Out of
It's
people
fine.
and out of the business, and it's by growing people.
Yeah.
And making sure people are aligned, making sure the culture is tight, making sure we're getting optimal performance out of the people that we're investing in.
And part of the facts or the proposal that this author is getting across is that it's okay to tell people the truth at work. You actually want to tell them the truth at work.
And it's not just about telling the truth. It's also about, this is what we're going to get into, is how.
Oh,
how do you
yes.
tell them the truth?
Right.
And when? And this is one thing that we're going to coach people on, is having those conversations.
How to do it.
How to do
How
it.
to do it. And one of the things that we talk with our business owners a lot about, managers about, is we want to preserve the relationship or improve the relationship and get the job done. We want to do both. And we're constantly need to get the work done and improve the relationship.
Yes,
We want to do both of
exactly
those things all the time, all day long.
That is it. That is it. And so what we're going to do is, so often, and if you are guilty of this, you just say, "Will you just stop doing that, Pete? Just stop doing that, James.
Stop it.
Just, you know what? Stop doing that. That behavior. You give a review and you just say, you tell them something to stop doing or to start doing or something. But one thing I see missing in companies is, how do I stop? How do I
Right.
start. How do I? And that's where coaching comes in, where we teach you. And that's what we're gonna do some hows during this session of, okay, so now I know what I'm supposed to do, but how do I do it?
So again, this is Peg and Pete with Business Talk, and we're talking about how to tell the hard truth at work. And as Peg said, this does apply at home just as well. So you have a spouse or kids or somebody else that you need, a neighbor that borrowed your lawnmower a month ago and didn't bring it back. Whatever it is we want to be able to treat people with kindness and get the job done.
So
right?
When we get back from break, we're going to talk about the do's and don'ts, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yep.
Like looking at, okay, I have to have that hard conversation. What are some do's and don'ts of having those difficult conversations?
Great.
Location, tone, words.
And we'll give you some examples.
Yes.
And we've had a lot of examples over the last 13 years, so there's hundreds of examples.
We'll give you some case studies.
All different kinds of things going on, right?
We want you to learn, because that's what this is all about, you learning and taking away some great strategies.
And applying it back home.
To learn more about today's topic, call 614-306-7922. Now, back to more Business Talk.
So we're talking today about telling the truth, the hard truth sometimes at work, and how do we maintain or improve the relationship with our employees and coworkers, and maybe it's a supplier or a customer even, while we get the job done.
Right. And we're going to use some case studies of what we've done with other companies. So when we're talking to you, this is business talk. So obviously we're talking about a business situation or owning a company or working in a business environment. And really it is for everything, not just for your business environment. So it's in everything we do.
And that's true with most of the things that we work with our clients on. These principles apply at home too.
Oh, absolutely. So Pete, before we get into tell the hard truth and some do's and don'ts, one thing that I find is really a good step is laying out expectations.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Now, that's a foundational type thing that sometimes when we start working with someone, just by asking a few simple questions, we find out that really hasn't happened.
I'm going to give you an example.
So, and I have one too. So you give me.
So here's an example, and you would think this is simple, but it's not. So I wanted you to acknowledge, okay, what is my onboarding? Like when people come on, what is my process? What are the steps I go through? So
yeah, what do you mean by that?
So, so what are some of the things that I guess you say and do as an employee comes in? What is it that you're going to make sure that they understand? So we like to have a procedure or a checklist. Yes, and we call it an onboarding process.
Yeah,
checklist, for lack of a better word. And so, Pete, there was this one company that hired this great employee. She was awesome. She was super positive, really hardworking, ready to learn. You know, when you get those employees.
Brand new employee.
I love it. And they were talking, and they're like, one thing that's bothering us is she comes in a little late.
Okay.
And then she's leaving sometimes a little early. And so, and I'm noticing this. And I said, okay, well, good. I go, did you actually tell her what time the hours were? Because a lot of companies do flex time. Yeah. And people don't understand that I can't, like if I come in at 9 and I'm an hour late, some companies will allow you to make up that time. But this company, there's no making up time from day to day.
They may not have explained to her that you really need to work 8 hours a day. Which 8 hours or when you come in and when you leave is up to you, but we want 8 hours from you.
No, it isn't up to her.
Okay.
That's the thing. That's what she was doing. She was working 8 hours a day.
Okay.
But it wasn't up to her. It has to be at a certain time.
Oh, she did have hours, but they didn't tell her.
Right.
Oh, my goodness.
So here this poor lady was, she was sort of getting deaned, and they said, do you understand the expectations? And going back to, have you explained expectations with your team, with your coworkers?
This seems so simple, but really, this happens a lot.
It's just a simple communication
unusual
thing. Do you know that actually it's not that you have to work 8 hours a day? Because you saw your assumption. Your assumption was just get your 8 hours done.
Right.
In this company, it's not that way.
Okay.
In most companies, it could be. It all depends. So that was a really good. So setting expectations is a really good way to.
So I'll give you another one. We have a company where there's a lot of people out in the field working. So it's a contracting company. And the supervisor has probably 70 employees out in the field. And there are some team leaders out there that kind of run jobs for this person.
Right.
And he checks in with them or comes by the work site to check on things. And somebody went off sick, so they moved a guy up. And this guy that got moved up would not give him a call when he ran into a certain thing. And the thing doesn't really matter. It's just it happened a couple times in a row. And we got talking about it. I said, did you really tell him ahead of time that when this happens, you need to call? And the answer was no. It's like, okay, you need to make this really clear, make it crystal clear, and then tell him why, and then let him know that this is really important. Stop everything you're doing, make this phone call. And that's what I need you to do. And it stopped.
And a lot of times what I'm seeing is managers, as we're coaching managers, executives, even teams, they get upset with each other on assumptions.
Yeah, assumptions. Right.
And expectations. Like, well, you should know how to do that. Of course you should.
You should know that you should do that.
Yes,
right?
that's a big one.
Now, common sense to you or to I may be different.
Right.
It may be two different things.
Right.
You don't know what work environment that person was in before, and you don't know how their parents trained them, and you just don't know all those things. So you've got to give them expectations of when X happens, I need you to call me.
So
and
that's
these are the
first
criteria.
thing. That is.
Yeah.
I mean, so when you're telling the hard truth about things at work, the first thing is lay out your expectations. Don't expect people and don't get mad at them for something they may not know. Now, let's say we've laid out all the expectations, Pete.
Yeah. So the other thing is that you want to do it in a supportive way, right? Being assertive is absolutely fine. And being aggressive, in other words, yelling or swearing or getting mad at somebody, that's not appropriate.
Exactly.
And being firm, though, and saying, look, I need you to be here before 8 o'clock in the morning because we have customers or whatever the reason is. I have to have you here at 8 o'clock every day.
I like it.
And that's okay to be firm, to just let them know. This is what we have. This is why. And that's how we do it.
Right.
And be firm with it. The small number of things that you really have to have a certain way, you have to have them that way. That's what you built your business on.
Well, and of course, write it down.
Writing it down would be wonderful.
We definitely want you to write things down.
Right.
And make sure that the expectations that you're holding for one person, you're holding for another, because part of a culture and creating a great culture is making sure that we're fair in our communication and fair in our expectations.
Sure.
So that we're not holding people to different standards.
Right.
So now, Pete, let's get back to this topic of tell the hard truth at work. So tell us a little bit about this.
So think about this scenario, and some of you listeners have been through this. I've been through this, and I know Peg has been through this. You're working in let's say, even a larger company with a big company, and the boss has done something that you really don't agree with. And you think it may end up hurting the boss.
Right.
He or she.
Right.
In the long run.
Yes.
Maybe not in the short run. In the long run, this is not a good thing. Mm-hmm. What do you do? This goes up, too. It's not always down.
That's a good way, because a lot of times telling the hard truth at work, people are thinking of managers needing to tell their direct reports.
Yes.
But to your point, a lot of times we see telling the hard truth is up. Right. How do I say what I'm seeing without insulting?
Yeah, and I had a boss years ago, John, who we had a really good relationship. I worked for him with two different companies, 2 different times, and I would go in. I remember going into his office and shutting the door and just talking about, hey, this is what I observed, and here's why I think this is not a good idea, and this is what I suggest going forward. And most of the time, he either changed it or he said, we really need to do it that way, and I'd salute smartly and charge up the hill and go do it. But
you mean regardless of what you say?
Regardless, if he decided this is what we're going to do and how we're going to do it, the original way, that's okay. I mean, I'll go support it. I'm not going to go out and badmouth them out in the business, right?
You're not going to take a knee.
No. Oh, that was good. I'm not. No.
I'm not going to
I'm supporting. I'm part of the organization, and if it's really that important to me that I'm going to that it's morally wrong and I'm going to leave. I'm going to quit.
Well, and here's one thing. I want to give this example of the do's. So some of the do's I'm taking away from you on that is you want to be respectful.
Yes.
You do want to do it privately.
Yes.
You do want to come with a solution.
Absolutely. That's very
good. And you
good.
do want to be heard as well as you want to listen.
Yeah.
And then you want to respect and accept whatever that outcome is and go out and be a good team member.
You've done this a few times.
I guess I have done this.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, that's exactly it. It's, hey, I respect you as my coach, my leader, my manager, business owner, and I see some pitfalls here that you may not have recognized. What if we did it this way or did it a little bit differently or implemented a different way? we may get better results.
Okay,
And it's really, most of the time, it's all about results, right?
Oh, well, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to give you another case study because I think we can learn from all. Now, Pete and I have been coaching, doing business coaching. Again, this is Peg and Pete. We have a firm here locally in Columbus called Take Action Business Coaching. .com is our website, takeactionbusinesscoaching.com. But our name is Take Action Business Coaching. And here's one example. So there was a manager, and this was a while ago, but we had a manager who did not understand why the company was being run a certain way.
Yeah.
They didn't understand the choices that were being made. And as a manager, you really need to support the company. You can't,
They didn't understand the choices being made above them?
Above them.
Yeah.
Thank you
Okay.
so much. Above them. And so what was happening is he was hearing scuttlebutt from his direct reports, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
why that decision?
This
Why
middle
that?
manager type person.
Yeah, this middle manager. And
Yeah.
as a middle manager, your job is to really be positive, listen, explain, support
Yeah.
the company. You don't join in and go, I know, aren't they idiots?
Yeah, this place
Oh my
stinks,
God,
man.
this place is awful. You're not allowed. So if you're,
You're
doing
not
that,
allowed to
stop.
do that. Yes.
Stop it. So one of the things is he needed to seek understanding so that he could support because he didn't feel like he supported some of the decisions. He didn't agree with them.
Okay.
So we really practiced. I'm going to call him Sam. So Sam and I practiced what he was going to say and how he was going to say it to the president.
To the boss. Okay.
Yeah, to the president, because he wanted to do it in a way that wasn't. It wasn't about creating a battleground, and it wasn't about creating this big conflict. It was about challenging the status quo in a way that allowed him to say this is an issue not just for me, but for all my direct reports, and I need you to help me in seeking that understanding.
And he's really being kind to let the president know that, hey, people feel strongly about this.
This
and
is a
this is
problem.
why.
Yeah,
and they're talking about it.
And it's sort of being, you know what, it's not like making you look
It may
good.
not be helping you.
It was sort of like what you said. When you have these tell the hard truth at work, when you have these conversations, they're not easy to have, but they're so important. And so I want to tell you, the conversation just went brilliantly.
Between these two people.
Yeah, Sam was able to bring up some, questions of decisions that have been made. And it was a really good, frank conversation where the president was like, okay, this is why A and B. And these were things, just business things that Sam didn't know. Then he saw that understood.
He didn't understand all the pieces of
purpose.
information
Yes.
that the president used to make the decision.
Correct. In his defense, he wasn't educated in that realm. He got educated. He understood. He was able to support his direct reports with reasons. Now, there was a couple things that weren't logical.
Huh?
There was a couple points that were dead on.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
They were dead on. And in that case, the president was able to explain some things and not. In some, he was like, some things you're just going to have to trust me, and I can't go beyond that.
Okay.
I'm not allowed.
It's good.
The other thing, there's a timetable on it. We're going to see what happens in a year.
Okay.
So, because sometimes part of being a great team member is to support risk-taking. And we have to support our team. We have to support our managers, each other. And we want to make sure it's logical support taking. Like they were starting
Logical
to think,
risk-taking,
I
not
mean,
gambling.
Risk-taking.
Yeah.
And so in this case, they felt like a lot of the team was feeling it wasn't very logical. Like, this is too risky. This is...
Gotcha.
And through that conversation, some of it was still not the best answer, but 75% of it had an answer that he could go back and.
Okay.
So that critical conversation, telling the hard truth at work, difficult conversation, made the team better.
Well, most of the time, the boss in that case is going to have a better feeling about the manager
Yes.
than they did before.
Yes.
They came up.
Yes.
Could your business use some help? Call 614-306-7922 to schedule your coaching session. 614-306-7922. Now, here's more business talk.
So we're talking today about telling the hard truth at work. And a couple of weeks ago, I was with one of our clients, and it's a relatively small manufacturing company with less than 50 employees. And I was out in the plant. We were talking about some of the hourly folks in the plant. And they're looking for more, always looking for more, it seems like. And we're talking about one of the individuals. And, of course, my last name is McDowell, right? And one of these
Pete
guys.
McDowell.
Yeah, one of these guys' names is Mac, And so the supervisor and I were talking about him. And he said, yeah, he's way too slow. I said, well, have you talked to him about it? He said, no. I said, okay.
So he doesn't know.
Yeah. He just knows that the supervisor's kind of cranky with him, and
Doesn't know why.
he pretty much ignores him. So what the supervisor's done is he's accepted this slow speed and figures he's never going to change.
Yeah.
He's slow, and that's the way he's going to be.
Right.
It's like if you have a baby and they start to toddle, when they're
Right.
12 months or whatever, and they fall down, and you just go, well, going to be a crawler, kid.
I'm
That's
not going
it.
to help you. I'm not going to coach
I'm not
you.
helping. I'm not encouraging you. Nothing.
No encouragement. No direction.
You're a crawler. Yep.
It's a shame. You're going to be crawling the rest of your life. So what happened?
I've got to go back to him and talk to him this week because I didn't see him last week and find out, did you have a talk with him?
Because he was going to have a talk. And what was he going to say?
Well, he's going to say, look, you're a great guy. You do this well. You do that well. You do that well. And there are times when you go too slow. And here's the result. Because there's results. It's in a production line. And when you're too slow in one spot, everything backs up. And it happens. And it bothers him, but he's accepted it. So I said, don't accept it.
Well,
you don't have to
and we have
accept
to go back to our earlier in the show. Pete and I were talking about not just explaining expectations, which is what you were asking him to do,
Yes,
but also
clearly.
how do I go faster?
Yeah.
Not just I need to do it. It's
Oh, sure.
How?
If it's a technique thing or a system thing or, you're moving the wrong way or you're pressing the wrong buttons, yeah, of course. It could be that too, but he hadn't addressed the issue, was the issue.
Right.
And this truth thing goes 2 levels. I'm talking to him about telling the truth to this hourly employee, and he's got to examine, well, why am I not saying anything to this guy? And then he's got to go talk to the guy, right?
And then when we see that in a company, we're like, okay, so how many other people are doing things that you're not addressing?
Well,
So it's
it's a habit.
It's
right?
a habit. So you can open up great opportunities. When we work with you, Pete and I mean, we come in and we help you set new habits. We help you with communication, production. That's why you make more money.
That's how we help people make more money.
Yeah,
Right,
that's how you make
exactly.
more money.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's dig into some of
Okay,
these.
so tell me some more of these.
Do and don'ts things.
Yes.
So, let's do the don'ts first.
Okay,
I mean,
let's-
some of these are pretty obvious,
Okay.
And we can add some of our own because I don't think they have them all. We've seen a lot of these.
Oh,
so
yes.
Rules for delivering criticism.
Okay.
And I don't like that word criticism. We should say feedback.
Feedback. Okay, I agree. Let's do
Because
feedback.
criticism, Peg, what's the difference between criticism and feedback?
Now, what we say, and this is an emotional intelligence, is feedback is giving you an example of what to change that isn't personally attacking you.
Yeah, criticism could be telling somebody something about which they can't do anything.
There you go.
You're so short.
Yes. I mean, what are you going to do with that?
What are you going to do with that?
A lot of times the criticism, and again, I like to use that example because it was a personal attack.
It's a personal attack, and you can't change it.
Criticism, like a personal attack. And
Your hair is so blonde.
Right. And the thing is, you want it to be something that's feedback is something that you can adjust and change to improve.
Yes, right. And it's purposeful.
That's why we use
and
feedback.
it should be kind. So some of the don'ts are: don't be rude, obnoxious, or aggressive. It's okay to be assertive, but not aggressive, meaning, your voice is loud or you're nasty or don't want to hear from them. Don't
cut them off. Like that is what you mean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You cut them off in mid-sentence. Oh.
Yeah. Like that, yes. Agreed. Those are good. These are the don'ts. And I know this may seem obvious. I just want you to look, though, at what's happening. And again, if you have this show and you say, I need somebody else to listen to it, go to our website, takeactionbusinesscoaching.com. Sure. And you'll hear this in its entirety, or you can share it with others. And it's under the Business Talk tab.
Yep.
Okay, what are some other don'ts?
Okay, so don't be rude, obnoxious, or aggressive. Number 2, don't belittle, embarrass, or scare people.
Scaring is a big,
like threatening.
Big thing.
Yeah.
Threatening, we run into that where people have learned they think that by being a good manager, I'm going to be strong and threatening.
Right. Embarrassing someone in front of a group.
That's not good.
People are going to remember that for years.
And it's interesting that embarrassing people, and I know you're sitting here listening going, who would ever do that? But we were working with a company, and it was the president of the company came over and was like, he thought it was funny. Oh, this department hasn't been reaching its budget forever. You guys are just too slow, and he thought he was being funny, but it was really criticizing in a group setting, and it hurt their feelings.
Right.
And he was thinking, he was using sarcasm and humor as a tool that was not good.
Yep. So that'd go in this category of belittling, embarrassing, or scaring people.
Correct.
Number 3 is criticize colleagues in public. And Peg, you mentioned this before, is that if you have some corrective criticism, do it in private.
Right.
And if it has to wait a few minutes or an hour, that's fine.
Right.
Exactly. Let it wait.
And in private, and you said that right before the break, you had given an example of how you had talked to one of your old bosses, and the first thing you said is, I pulled him aside in the office.
Yes, right.
Because we do want it to be timely, but if timely does not mean in front of everyone.
And going back to that is I ask him permission, hey, do you have a few minutes to talk about a topic? Tell him what the topic is, and tell him I have some thoughts on it that I think you'd like to hear.
Yes, I've created
Just lay it out.
Some solutions.
Give them the agenda and get them to say, yeah.
That's a perfect way, Pete. Perfect. Okay, what are some other don'ts?
Number 4, shout.
Don't shout.
Don't shout.
And shouting and emails. I know I'm getting ahead of myself because it does have emails on there. But
all capitals in emails.
But really be careful about shouting on emails.
And what do you mean by that?
Well, what I mean by that is statements and curse and direct and harsh.
Okay.
I look at that as shouting.
So number 5, don't. You'll like this one. Don't repeat yourself. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. So what do you think they're saying there? I didn't really mean that. No. I didn't really. That sounded funny. No, I meant.
Don't repeat yourself.
In other words, don't say it again and again. Oh, I'll give you an example.
Or sometimes, and people have done this with me, is they say the same thing, but they raise the volume.
Yes.
Like I didn't hear them. I heard you just fine. Yeah.
A lot of people try to over-explain themselves. Just say it. Okay, got it. Okay.
Don't try to soften that criticism by prefacing and following it with insincere praise.
And what we say is we do like to sandwich. We like the sandwich. So the sandwich is a soft bun. The feedback is the meat, and then a soft bun.
And the critical word in this little phrase here is insincere.
Insincere, correct.
If you're letting an employee know, like this gentleman does at this factory, that hey, you're always here on time. People enjoy working with you, which they actually do.
Right.
The guys get along with each other, and you were accurate on your paperwork. If you say those things and it's true, there's nothing wrong with that. Well, and you're letting them know that 80, 90% of what you do, I really value. This little thing here, it needs to be better.
So you're sandwiching it.
Yeah.
You're sandwiching it. So you just gave you're here on time, people love working with you, and I need you to speed up again.
But if you put if the bread on your sandwich is insincere, it's going to make it worse. Not better.
Yeah. People read
That's
through
all
that.
we're saying. Yeah, those
Good.
are great shoes, man. Now get your butt here on time.
Yeah. Got it. Okay, good. That's
right.
a good don't.
Don't put colleagues on the defensive. So if you immediately get them afraid or they think their job is in jeopardy, you've got to set them at ease. Part of your job as a leader is to let them know it's safe to talk about this topic.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, I like that one.
Don't send your criticism via text, instant message, or email.
Which we talked
or Instagram.
Yes. I just I talked a little bit about that. It's still, I know that, again, this is us as business coaches, and we walk into organizations, Pete, and if I could just tell every organization, just don't do this in writing. Have a conversation. And that right. It is still prevalent. It is still prevalent where we're walking in saying, okay, you're not allowed to do that. You can't have this long tirade on an email and hide behind that and be nasty.
Oh, yeah, right. And, the person has no way to talk back to you.
Right.
Either. If you send them an email.
And then you CC somebody.
Oh, my goodness. No.
This just happened. And I know, we all know better, but we had this company that we're coaching. This happened a couple weeks ago where one guy in a different department emails the president and then CCs a different department. And says, we did all of this, and if this other department could just, it didn't even address the person. It was yelling at them to the president with them on the CC. It was completely inappropriate. The president is being coached. The person's being coached. And, of course, who did it make it look bad? The person writing the email. Unprofessional.
Of course, right.
Completely unprofessional, and we would expect more from them. So when you're about to write emails, Pete, don't. Not like that.
Right. If you really need to talk to somebody about something, get up and walk down the hall and go talk to them. Or at least get them on the phone if they're out of town, right?
To learn more about today's topic, call 614-306-7922. Now, back to more business talk.
So we're talking today about how to tell the hard truth at work, and we're covering some of the don'ts and rules for delivering criticism, some of the things you should avoid. And the last one we mentioned before the break was don't send your criticism via text, instant message, or email, or Instagram.
And I just, again, this is Peg and Pete with Business Talk. We coach businesses. We coach individuals. This is what we do for a living. If you want us to coach you, you can call us, but also go to our website and you're saying, oh my God, that's Jeremy. I know that's Jeremy who does that. Have them listen to our website, go to our website and listen to our radio show.
They're on there by topic.
Yes.
Yep.
And so we want you to learn from this and to help you. That's why we're doing this show.
Right.
Is that if you walk away with one or two things to help your world and make more money and have happiness, then our job is done.
You got to learn something. You got to apply it.
Right. Exactly.
So number 9 here: don't try too hard to be popular.
Okay.
If you're the boss or you're the business owner, you are going to have to have clear expectations. And then also correct people when they don't meet expectations. That's part of your job.
That's a good one. And I see that a lot with coaches in sports for high school or where they try to be everybody's friend.
Oh, not Bill Belichick. Right?
No.
He just says, do your job.
Do your job.
Just do your job.
So a lot of times they want to try and be popular. I want all the kids to like me. And it's the same thing as a manager. Sometimes you have to do your job and they're not going to like it, and that has to be okay.
It doesn't mean you're not likable, because
Right.
you can be.
And you need to be likable.
However, you need to uphold the standards, whatever they are, and the critical ones.
Right.
Not, silly things.
Right.
So another don't, and we mentioned this in our own words, but it says don't make it personal, as in you're sloppy.
Right. Don't attack.
That's a personal attack.
We said the difference between criticism and feedback. Criticism is really being a personal attack, criticizing somebody that can't change something. Feedback is a way of discussing something that they can change.
And you're helping, by giving feedback, you're helping them to move in a positive direction.
Right.
That's really what it's all about.
I like it.
Okay,
I like
good,
it. Okay,
good.
now let's go.
So do you
Okay.
want to hear something? Oh, and number 11. Thank you, Alan.
Oh, Alan added
Don't
one.
key their car.
No, slash their tires.
slash their tires. They're 12. Don't key their car and don't slash their tires.
Yes, those would be definite things that no.
That's
When
a no.
you want to tell the truth and tell the hard truth at work, that's not one thing that we want. Okay, so now let's go flip side to the do's.
Yeah,
so
some
we're
of
in
the
this work
things
environment.
that
What are
you
some of the
should
do's?
do when you're delivering criticism to someone.
And we say feedback versus criticism.
Yes. Do build a trusting relationship first. So emotional bank account time.
There we go. So imagine that everybody has an emotional bank account. So we have withdrawals and deposits on either side, meaning that in order to gain a better relationship, it's just like a bank account. I'm going to add a deposit, and a deposit to you could be saying great job. It could be spending time with you. It could be listening.
Right.
It could
be
be
helping you get something
helping
done.
you out. Those are deposits. A withdrawal would be asking for a favor, asking to sit down and listen. Hey, can you work extra late? Can you cover me on this? So everybody has an emotional bank account with each other, and making sure, and that's the number one thing of the do's, is making sure you build trust. So going to somebody who you don't have a high emotional bank account and asking them or giving them feedback, they may not be willing to listen to you.
Right. You need to make a lot more deposits than withdrawals.
Exactly. Right? Which means 8 out of 10 times you should be giving positive feedback versus corrective. And that's how you build your bank account. Okay. And that's how you earn trust.
So another things that you should do when you're giving feedback is use feedback as a tool for improvement. You should do that. Well, so it has to have I call it a business purpose.
Mm-hmm. So they're saying that people will react to positive feedback doing it again and again. Is that what that is?
Well, you should have your goal in the interaction is to improve performance.
Oh, okay. Okay, so saying being
it's all about improving.
Okay,
whether
specific
it's
with
the
what
department
the
getting the
is.
right amount of production out, or you're making sure somebody doesn't hurt themselves. Or
got it.
Whatever
okay.
it happens to be, or handles a customer problem well.
Okay, got it, Pete.
Those
all
kind
right.
of things.
Okay, that's good. And again, this is Peg and Pete, and today's topic is all about what we're doing in the workplace, and we've called it the Tell the Hard Truth at Work topic. And now we are, finishing up the show. We have some more time, but go to takeactionbusinesscoaching.com.
Yep.
and you'll see all our I say that easily,
Archives.
archive shows.
Click on the Business Talk link,
Yes.
and you'll find all those shows.
Yes.
So number 3, these are things you should do when you're giving feedback, is find fault with the behavior rather than the person.
I like that.
Joe, you were 20 minutes late to work.
And that goes back to you and the criticism that you mentioned of, you're short.
Yeah, right.
Like attacking the individual
What can I do about that?
versus the work. Or, you know what, you always are that way. Like that kind
Always
of thing.
Always and never. We don't do that.
Yeah,
either.
you're always this. And really looking at solutions. I like that one.
Yeah. Number 4, and I like this one. This really goes with the number 3, is explain the impact in specific terms. Joe, because you were late, 2 other people had to set things up to get started today.
And
then they couldn't do their job. So we got behind.
Or do you know that when you are talking a lot in this work environment, that you're disrupting other people trying to work who need it quiet? Mm-hmm. This happened.
Oh.
And the impact is that people are getting resentful because they need quiet.
Yep.
And you're complaining, and it was not.
So that's a critical one. Explain the impact in specific terms. Why? Why is this a problem?
The value of anything is always good to explain. Just the value, because a lot of people won't do something because they don't know why. What's the impact? So that I want to highlight.
They might know how to do it, but they don't know why we're doing it.
Right. So understanding how and why are 2 really important things.
When
to
you're
change your
giving
behavior.
feedback, you should invite the person to challenge your thinking.
Do you think this is right?
Yeah. Why do you think it's important that we all come here on time every day?
One thing that we encourage when you have to have this hard conversation is a lot of times they may know it. So, Pete, tell me, how do you think you've been doing?
Well, I'm doing okay, but I know I'm late once in a while.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. Why do you think? So, when you need to have that hard conversation, it wouldn't be a bad thing to say, okay, tell me how you're doing.
Well, and you're kind of letting the person fess up to it, and it takes some of the tension out, right?
Yes.
I mean, if you can get down to why you're really sitting down, and the worry will go away, and they'll go, I know I'm late once in a while.
I know. Or I know that I've been a little negative and gossipy. Or I know that I haven't been on the team player. Or I know I'm not moving fast enough.
And a couple of our leaders that we're working with currently have had this conversation with them. These employees that they have that are doing certain things that they really don't like, you don't really know how they were trained at their last workplace or how their parents helped them grow.
Exactly.
Did they teach them that you need to be at work on time?
Right.
You don't really know. So they need your help. Number 6, show compassion. You should be compassionate.
I like that empathetic, compassionate way of understanding where they are and helping them with whatever it is they need.
Yep.
It was interesting, Pete. We were with a client, and they were really frustrated because they wanted more marketing help and that the company didn't have that many. And I go, well, the company hired me, and they hired me to help you. So you shouldn't be frustrated with them. You should be thanking them because I'm sitting here talking to you, and we're going to figure this out together.
Yeah, right.
They're feeling compassionate, and they're listening to me because they were saying, they aren't listening to me. I go, but they are. I'm sitting here talking to you. This is why. He's like, oh, I never thought of it that way.
I don't want to talk to you. Yeah.
Okay. No. He was an excellent candidate. So
show compassion.
Showing compassion is good.
The next one is be humble. Well, I've never missed a day of work in my life. What's your problem?
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, definitely being humble. That's a do. Making sure you understand their perspective. Very good.
Number 8, stress that you want to be helpful. I'm really here to help. Let's talk about all the ways that you could make sure you get here on time every day. What are some of the things you could do?
That's a good
Buy
coaching.
another alarm clock. Blah, blah, blah. Who knows what it is. I'll pick you up. I've had supervisors pick employees up before.
Right. Well, I've had
I'll come and get you. If you're not up, I'll get you.
One tactic I've heard is instead of 8, let's say your day starts at 7:30. So if you get in at 8, you're on time. If you get on 7:30, start early.
Yeah. Number 9, deliver feedback immediately and in person.
Oh,
So the quicker to the event, the better.
that's going to be a highlighted one.
Right.
Because the worst thing, and we were working with one company on the timeliness because it had multiple shifts. So some people would work a first shift and then a second.
Yep.
It was a retailer, but you know how they have different
different work hours.
Different work hours.
Yeah.
And so if the first person in the morning had an issue, then the person with the afternoon and then the manager would work, it would be like sometimes 2 weeks before that it got addressed. And they didn't want to talk to people direct.
Oh, really?
And the timeliness was
no.
just killing us.
Yeah.
It was just killing us. So we created a systematic way where we had the supervisor bridge gaps. We had a communication tool. We taught them how to go direct. They still didn't feel comfortable. I'm just saying going direct. Now they have a tool of going to the supervisor, and the supervisor directs it. And our goal is within 24 hours, everybody gets talked to if there's a problem.
Great.
And it's working.
Yeah.
And life, oh my gosh, the culture is wonderful.
That's awesome.
Switched it around.
Yep.
Okay,
So you made a change.
Yes, we made a change. So is there any more do's?
No, that's it.
We went through all of our do's and don'ts.
We did. We certainly did. Yes.
Oh my gosh. So as you're walking away and you're thinking about, or listening, I say walking away, driving, and as we're coming to a close, I want you to think of homework of what are some of the conversations that you need to have that you're not having.
Yeah, and you know what they are. When you're out there mowing the lawn or raking the leaves, you're going, oh man, I should have talked to Joe about so-and-so.
Or I've been
and
putting
I'm
this
not
off.
doing it. Yeah, because it's uncomfortable.
You know what? It'll go away. It'll go away. It won't get that bad. We hear that a lot. Oh, is it really that bad? You know, we can put up with it. Or another one is, oh, they'll never change, so it doesn't matter me having this conversation. So what we want you to do is look at the conversations you should have, right?
Yeah.
And write down the
Write
name.
down, 2 or 3 of them. Don't overwhelm yourself, but pick the top 2 or 3 that you really think you need to have, and then select a day next week and say, okay, Tuesday, I'm going to go in and talk to Joe privately, and we're gonna talk about this. And then on Thursday, I'm talking to Sally. Sally gets in a lot of trouble in our shows.
Exactly.
For some reason.
Sally and Sam. Well, and keep this in mind that at the very least, look at what you've done. And again, this applies to not just business, but your family is, have you laid out your expectations? Have you been specific, and do they understand what they need to deliver on? Because a lot of times that difficult conversation starts with you of, have I told them what I needed?
Right.
Not
right.
just what they need to change, but what I need to change to tell them.
And if you want to listen to past radio shows, you can go to takeactionbusinesscoaching.com and click on the Business Talk link. And our shows are on there by topic. You can listen to them all.
And you can
one
contact
right
us.
after the other.
And contact us through that website.
Yeah. We're at 614-306-7922.
This has been Business Talk, your business, your success, sponsored by Take Action Business Coaching. The opinions expressed were those of the participants and may not be the views of the staff, advertisers, and owners of the station. Advice given was not intended to replace that of your business advisor. For more information about the topics discussed today, call 614-306-7922. 614-306-7922. Tune in next week at this time for more Business Talk, your business, your success.